Welcome to our Bushuddle podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Cuthbert, Creative Director at Baker Creative. Pamela Eason became the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, or WBENC, in 2011. Previously, she was Vice President of Worldwide Procurement for Pfizer, a graduate of East Tennessee State University with a bachelor's degree in accounting and Johns Hopkins University with a master's in international business and finance. Pamela was one of the first to receive a certified professional in a supply management designation. Welcome, Pamela, to our podcast. Welcome, Pamela Eason. We're so happy to have you for our podcast.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm glad to be here with you.
How did you become involved in WBENC?
Well, ironically, I was Vice President of Global Sourcing at Pfizer at the time, and Pfizer was very committed to diversity and inclusion. And my boss, Lisa Martin, took a role on the board with the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and we wanted to be very active there, but we also wanted to be very active with WBENC as well. And so I took the role on the WBENC board. And initially, my real focus was around how can I look at the processes that Pfizer has for doing business with women-owned businesses and other smaller businesses, and how can we integrate that into what we do in the procurement world. But as time went by, as about 12 years went by, I really came to love the WBENC organization and to understand what it was like to be a woman-owned business and how to approach large business. And I felt like that I could help to fill the gap between what women needed to know and what corporations needed to share. And so I thought we're better to do that than at WBENC.
How has WBENC become a model for other organizations to help out with women-owned businesses?
I think that the fact that we have really looked at women-owned businesses where they are today has been what people have noticed the most about us and what other organizations are trying to do. So I think that change is occurring so quickly these days, even really pre-COVID, but definitely since COVID. And our organization, I think, is particularly good at being in touch with our women-owned businesses and being in touch with our corporations and understanding what needs to be dealt with between both of those entities. And we try to meet people where they are. And so if our women-owned businesses are experiencing a very big change in how to be in touch with corporations or with the government, then we want to spend extra time there ensuring that we shore up how that can happen. As you might guess, in this last year, everyone's mode of communication changed, how they met other valid suppliers changed, and how they stayed in touch. And so we have tried to be at the forefront of understanding the best ways in which to do that.
What adaptations did WBENC do during the pandemic?
So everything we did was an adaptation. I am very blessed to have a tremendous staff at the WBENC National Headquarters of people who really believe in the mission that we do. And what we and the people that we serve. And so through that activity, everyone realized that our primary form of interacting in any year was around large in-person events. And so we recognized right away that that certainly wasn't going to happen for our first event, and likely not to happen for our second event for 2020. And, you know, as it's turned out, it's happened in 2021 as well. And so what we did was we said, okay, how can we meet people where they are? It was going to be a virtual world. And we very quickly worked with experts, whether they were university experts, whether they were WBE experts such as yourself, whether they were people in corporations who had additional practices to share or wanted to share how their environments were changing. We literally kind of went to the expert and brought those experts to our WBEs. So we pivoted and created a very robust program we call We Thrive. And We Thrive is a 9-week program that women can participate in. There are 3 tracks of it. You can be in the survival mode, the growth mode, or the thriving mode. And there's a different curriculum for each woman as she goes through that programming. It's in person in that it's live like you and I are today. And you have your own cohort of people going through the same experiences. And that has been one of the most successful things we've been able to do. We've continued to bring our corporate members to our WBEs via virtual platforms. And with the exception of the fact that everyone is very tired of virtual, that has been working very, very well. We're seeing a lot of results. We're seeing a lot of connections. We're seeing a lot of contracts. So literally every single thing we've done is a pivot to doing it in a virtual world.
What is a common mistake you see a lot of small businesses make?
I'd say the most common mistake at this point is one that's probably been made over the course of time and is no more unique today than it ever has been. And I will also say it's not just women-owned businesses. I think it's all small business owners. Understanding where you are financially as a business is something that sometimes other people rely on, maybe an accountant to do that for them, or a banker that they interact with, or an external financial counsel. Not a lot of people, let's just say 75% in general of small business owners do not understand in depth their own financial situation. And so as the owner, regardless of whether you know how to do transactions and that sort of thing, it's good for you to fully understand what your balance sheet says, what your income statement says, and what your cash flow statement says. And while I think that is getting better with all of the teaching and coaching that's going along, it had a number of people in a particularly bad situation going into the pandemic. And so for us, we have elevated our focus on ensuring that the understanding of financial statements, as well as how to access capital, is even stronger within our own community.
How can businesses improve the relationships with corporations?
Actually, I think the relations in general are pretty good. I think the most important thing I try to tell people is on the corporate side, we really encourage corporations to be open about what areas of spend are coming up for contract. And so if you happen to be in a line of business that when you approach a buyer, they are not looking to buy that. They just did a 3 or a 5-year agreement with someone else. You don't want to spend your time there. You really want to target your focus on the corporations that are in your wheelhouse, that you believe that you can help to survive, help to solve their issues. And most importantly, it's not what you sell as an item or a service. It's all about what is it you're bringing to that business that makes that business more innovative or more competitive. Like, what is your true differentiator for people doing business with you? And so the way I think relationships get stronger is when there's a true win-win between people. But I would also say in a situation where you're dealing with a corporation that may not be buying your area of spend currently, remember that supplier diversity professionals are well networked, as are chief procurement officers, throughout many, many corporate supply chains. And so sometimes just your interaction with someone, say at an event, even if they don't have a need, they may know someone who's just about to get into that area of spend, and they may very well be a great reference for you or promote you to another company. So please keep in mind that relationship building is important, but it doesn't have to be a long time that you talk to somebody. Just a reminder, hey, I'm here. This is what I do. This is my unique solution.
What would surprise someone the most about WeBank?
What I would say is that our network itself is one national headquarters where I have approximately 23 employees, and we are spread actually all throughout the United States as the headquarters operation. And then we have 14 regional partners that serve various parts of the United States. And I think we do that in a pretty comprehensive way where there's a lot of similarity between what is offered in each area of these 14 regions. So for those of you who want to be active locally, you can learn a lot from your local regional partner, but also there are some differences based on if an area such as Detroit has a much larger presence in the automotive industry, you might find that some of their activities, even though that's not your home regional partner organization, might be good for you to attend and participate in. And so, I would encourage everyone to really understand the breadth of everything that's available across the network.
What advice would you give to someone starting their business or existing business in WeBank?
Okay, if you've been in business for a while, you should have already been a part of this WeBank network. You should be well integrated. We have just in these last 2 years had 140 new Fortune 500 companies come on. So most of the Fortune 500 is supportive of D&I, of women, of supplier diversity, and they're involved in this organization. So for those of you who are already in business, I would say take advantage of every resource that exists for you. If you're new and you're starting a business, recognize that there is a tremendous breadth of resourcing available to you. Through the SBA itself, there's a lot of startup type activity. If you go to I think it's sba.gov, check that out. There's a lot available to you, but additionally get involved in your local regional partner organization where you'll have numbers of corporate members, other WBEs, who are really vested in your business becoming a success. And again, work with the regional partner or work with WeBank National to really build out your comprehensive solution and almost your pitch to how you're going to talk about what you can bring to a corporation, because as a new person, they wouldn't have been aware of you yet. And so you want to make sure that you put the best foot forward with the most impactful message.
Understood. What do you think is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
Actually, the most rewarding part of my job is when I see business done together. It is wonderful to see so many women out there. They may have left corporate America to start their own business with a great idea. They may have done so because they became mothers, and then see the number of corporate members who are very vested in seeing all of these women be successful. And so that's probably the most gratifying thing, is when I see the parties working together, they're communicating on what is important about doing business together, and then there's actually business that results from that. And we have a lot of that, so that's good.
What is WeBank's primary focus for the future?
Our primary focus for the future is really on, again, continuing to meet women where they are and to build out resources that will allow them to grow in the best possible way and to thrive as entities. And so access to capital, again, has been one of those very challenging areas, especially with a pandemic having occurred. So we will be working to understand different populations of our women-owned businesses and what those needs are, and then looking for specific solutions that can allow them to grow their businesses without giving up all of their ownership.
The work-life balance. I know your schedule is so crazy. How do you balance everything out?
So I don't guess I look at it as work-life balance as much as I look at every day, what do you prioritize that day? So there are certainly times when work has got to be the most important thing that is going on. And I explain to my family that, there's going to be this concerted effort where they may not see me for a little bit on all the things that they wish that they could see me participate in. But the same thing is true from a personal perspective. You have to make time to be with your family, to be with your friends, to let everyone know that you're thinking about them. And so I think it becomes a series of priorities and prioritization, more so than some real balance.
Understood. So in today's world, are consumers and other businesses more supportive of women-owned businesses in the years past?
Yes, I think consumers in general, if you just think of the person on the street, I think that there has been a lot of interest in buying products from an affiliated group, whether that would be women-owned businesses, LGBT businesses, minority-owned businesses, et cetera. I think that almost buying for a purpose or buying for a cause has been something that has been growing over, say, the last 5 years. I would say that right now there is a larger effort than ever with consumers to try to support groups that they feel need that support. They may specifically look for something that has been created by a Black-owned business, an LGBT business, a woman-owned business. And so you'll see a lot of retailers trying to demonstrate where these products are within their store or in their e-commerce platforms. And that has been really growing lately. I would say there is very much, because of everything we've dealt with systemic racial injustice over these last 18 months, there is a very concerted effort by corporations that I consider to be very well-rounded. It's focused on wanting to ensure that they're doing business with women and other entities in their supply chain, but also in the promotion of those who have not always been the majority within the business, ensuring resources are available to people within the business, and a real recognition that it's hard for you to deliver a product and service as a corporation if you don't understand the population of people you're trying to deliver to. So I think that it has definitely grown significantly, especially over the last 2 years, and I hope it is a trend we will continue to see growing.
What type of legacy are you interested in leaving?
The legacy I really want to leave is that when I leave, this organization continues to do even better than when I leave it. One of the things that's been important to our organization, I mentioned my staff earlier, I have got a tremendous staff. I would put them up against anybody in the world. And so I feel that we've got a lot of succession planning in place. We have a lot of partnerships with our RPOs, with our partners like WIP, with NGLCC, many other partners out there. And I feel that the most important thing I can do is ensure that we have an organization that doesn't depend on me and doesn't depend on any small group of people, but has a legacy of being able to exist over the course of time with whomever is leading it. And so that would be what I hope my legacy will be.
Thank you, Pamela, for all your help. And I think what you have shared today is going to help a lot of business owners and a lot of people understand what WBENC does. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you're interested in learning more, visit our website at bakercreative.co.